Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will go ahead and call to order the Bloomington City Council meeting for Monday, August the 24th at 6:02 p.m. And if you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Next, Madam Clerk, if you would take the roll call, please.
Councilmember Kearns? Here. Councilmember Mosley?
Here.
Councilmember Montney? Here. Councilmember Dannenberger?
Here.
Councilmember Straza?
Here.
Councilmember Ward?
Here.
Councilmember Lee?
Here.
And Councilmember Scott? Here. Mayor Brady?
Here. And it's my understanding that Councilmember Hendricks is going to join us remotely. And if that is the case, Councilmember Hendricks, can you hear us?
I can hear you and hope you can hear me.
And we can hear you, and thank you. And that brings us to a point where I need a motion, and that would be a motion by Member Ward, seconded
Second.
by Member Montney to accept remotely. And we're going to do a roll call.
Yes, we will really quick. And also, just for the record, it's for health reasons. Councilmember Kearns?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosley?
Yes.
Councilmember Montney?
Yes.
Councilmember Dannenberger?
Yes.
Councilmember Straza?
Yes.
Councilmember Ward?
Aye.
Councilmember Lee?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Thanks. And if you'll just ignore the screen behind you, it's doing its own thing today. We'll get it fixed. Councilmember Hendricks, can you hear us?
Yep, still can hear you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll move forward with recognition and appointments. And I believe I know that our Chief Symington is present with two new officers that he would like to introduce to all of us this evening and to the city of Bloomington. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you tonight. Thank you for allowing the Bloomington Police Department the privilege of presenting two officers who will receive their commissions tonight. This milestone reflects not only their successful completion of the rigorous academy and demanding field training, but also their readiness to fully embrace one of the noblest professions in America, law enforcement. Jalen Schultz and Deontay Dillard joined the police department guided by a mission that is simple but profound, to work honorably and steadfastly with members of the community to enhance livability through strong partnerships, servant leadership, and continuous innovation. They have demonstrated the professionalism, integrity, respect for human dignity, and commitment to serve this mission requires. The commissioning of these officers is also a reflection of our shared commitment between yourself, the City Council, City Leadership, and the Bloomington Police Department to maintain a strong, trusted, and resilient police organization. Your support enables us to uphold our core values each and every day. These officers have shown exceptional dedication. They completed intensive training, met high performance expectations, and stepped forward with courage, resiliency, and a willingness to lead. These qualities define the future of policing in Bloomington, which requires adaptability, strength and character, and the ability to respond to people in their most vulnerable times. They have demonstrated full preparedness for that responsibility. First up is Officer Jalen Schultz, who was hired on August 19th, 2024. Jalen grew up in the Bloomington Normal area and graduated from Normal Community High School. He is engaged to his fiancee, Hannah, and they have a 2.5-year-old daughter, Alea. They're also expecting their second baby girl here in early December. Before becoming a police officer with the Bloomington Police Department, Jalen owned and operated Jay's Detailing Services, which he started in 2022 because of his passion for cars. He played football, but also is a coach at Bloomington Knockers varsity football team. Coaching allows him to stay involved with something he loves while giving back to the community. Jalen enjoys showing young athletes that they can achieve better for themselves through hard work, discipline, and dedication. Last year, Jalen received the DUI Arrest Award for the year. He also recently became a drug recognition expert, which is the highest certification an officer can earn while identifying drug impaired individuals. This training has been valuable not only for impaired driving investigations, but also a variety of other calls for service. This year, Jalen has already surpassed his total number of DUI arrests from last year and remains committed to identifying and removing impaired drivers from our roads to help keep our community safe. Jalen, I will now present you with your commission. Congratulations. Leonte Dillard was hired also on August 19, 2024. He attended Dwight D. Howard High School in Blue Island, Illinois, before graduating from Moraine Valley College in Palos Hills, where he received an associate's degree in criminal justice. After dating for 5 years, Leonte recently asked his fiancee, Cedrica Skies, for her hand in marriage. Before coming to the Bloomington Police Department, Leonte was an over-the-road semi-truck driver for approximately 2 years. He started volunteering as an assistant coach for the girls basketball team at the Bloomington High School last year. Leonte is a high-performing, proactive DUI enforcement officer and is third in traffic stops so far this year. In his free time, outside of work, he enjoys running, playing basketball, and reading books of all genres. Leonte, I will now present you with your commission. Gentlemen, thank you for choosing this calling. Thank you for your perseverance, your professionalism, and your desire to serve with compassion and integrity. And to the City Council, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your continued support of our accredited, mission-driven organization. With your partnership, we continue to strengthen public trust and ensure Bloomington remains safe, welcoming, and thriving. Again, congratulations, gentlemen. I look forward to working alongside you.
Thank you very much. And officers, congratulations. If you'd like to come forward so each and one of us can extend our appreciation. We tried for some pictures, but maybe we'll get that here. I don't know about after the meeting. Might be a little late. Once again, congratulations to the new officers, and we thank you for your service. Next, we're going to move on to recognition and appointments. And Madam Clerk, do we have, excuse me, I'm sorry, public comments? Do we have public comments this evening?
We received no emailed public comment. After you read your statement, we will have 4 people to speak, and we'll start with Alec Lander.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, public comment is an opportunity for speakers to provide their views and feedback to the City Council. It's also an opportunity for the City Council to listen and hear diverse points of view. To maximize the impact of public comment and show respect for the expression of all viewers, speakers should maintain stability and focus on city issues. Speakers must identify themselves for the record, but are not required to give their address. Each speaker is given the floor for 3 minutes, and the council does not respond or engage in debate. Any speaker that engages in threatening or disorderly behavior will be deemed out of order and their time ceased. So our first speaker.
First speaker is Alec Lander.
Thank you. Just to preface this, I hate public speaking. So my issue here lies in the fact that my wife and I purchased a new vehicle. It was not brand new. It was a 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee in late 2024, or sorry, early 25. And I am aware that the city charges a vehicle use tax. that when I called in after we purchased the vehicle, attempting to pay that vehicle use tax, was told, hey, just wait, we'll send you the notice. That way we know what to bill you. Well, my wife and I were moving a few weeks ago to another house that is owned by my parents. And somehow we lost the notice that she was served in the middle of that move. We were not, I tried calling down, talking to somebody saying, hey, we're in the middle of a move. Can we move the date for the court? Something, anything. No answer, nothing. So finally, I spent 4 hours last Wednesday and Thursday on the phone trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go to pay this tax, or how, or who to pay it to, or whatever, when the court date was. I was told court date was yesterday. Judge entered a summary judgment. You have to pay X amount. Okay, cool. Not cool, because the tax was calculated off of the brand new price of the vehicle in 2018. I'm a car guy. I was told, hey, we use Kelly Blue Book finally, after spending 4 hours on the phone trying to find out where the amount comes from. Was finally told, well, a city employee comes up with that amount. And was told, well, yeah, we're going to use the new price of the vehicle. I said, okay, fine, except for it's not a brand new vehicle. It was 7 years old at the time. Your own city code states that the amount that shall be paid is 0.75% of the sale price of the vehicle. The judgment that was entered was more than 4 times what I should be paying. I understand that it was my fault that I missed the court date, but the misapplication of the laws in this town is my issue. I don't know if there's anything that anyone can do. If there isn't, fine. I will pay the fine or the tax or whatever it is. But there needs to be some accountability for somebody intentionally charging and then admitting that they put the wrong amount on that bill.
Thank you, sir. Next.
Next up is Sylvia Tucker, and then to follow will be Gary Stevens. All right, not seeing Sylvia. Oh, yep, Gary Stevens, thanks.
Good evening. Thank you for this time to be able to share with you. I have 3 minutes and 3 items. Recently, we had a flood on Sugar Creek, and the flood happened to block Martin Luther King Drive, and at least for a few hours. And I know that we've had a drought past year, but we also, as a city, need to be watching for places that do flood. And I do know that there is a place near Graham Street and White Oak Road that's part of the park out there. And if we could just rearrange the bank of the creek, then perhaps there'd be a place for floodwaters to expand and not be so much of a problem over by Martin Luther King Drive. We have a lot of free parking on the streets in Bloomington, but I also think that instead of just putting a time limit on parking, I think we ought to move in the direction of paid parking to be able to motivate people to pay a little bit for parking, and also to allow people to park closer to the point where they want to do business. In our parks that we have, especially I've had experience at PJ Irvin, I've seen that there's no recycling cans there. I know the city impresses on people to please recycle your used materials, cans and whatnot. And I think it'd be good if the city could put out some recycling containers in the different parks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, last up, we have Ashley Connell Olet. All right, not seeing Ashley. That's all of the public comment that we have for this evening.
Thank you. Then no further speakers for public comment.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we'll move to the consent agenda for this evening's meeting and ask if there's any members from the council that have an item on the consent agenda they wish, excuse me, they wish to have pulled for further discussion or questions. Seeing none, is there a motion from a member?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded by member Scott and initial motion by member Straza. Clerk, would you take the vote electronically, please?
The items passed, no nays to announce.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to the regular agenda of tonight's meeting and under 8A, which is a consideration and action on a resolution approving a contract with Tesca Associates for West Bloomington Quality of Life Roadmap. And I will ask Mr. Jurgens, our city manager, to introduce this item.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is an item that was tabled to this meeting. Originally, we were going to discuss this a couple of months ago. This is the West Side Quality of Life Roadmap, and I'm going to ask our Director of Community Impact and Enhancement, Cordero Patrick, to provide a brief presentation on it. Then we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Before I start, I would like to acknowledge Scott Goldstein, who is the president of Tesca Associates, who's here with us tonight. Also, I want to acknowledge some of the board members from the West Bloomington Revitalization Project, who is also here with us tonight. So I just wanted to make sure that you know they were here. Next slide. So the West Bloomington Quality of Life Roadmap. You know, the question becomes, why the West Side? And I would just share that for the geographical area that we'll be targeting for this Quality of Life Roadmap, there's about 12,600 residents that lives within that area. The West Side has, over the years, done a lot of great things, a lot of great organizations. In fact, West Bloomington Revitalization Project was birthed out of the original quality of life roadmap. But there's still challenges, right? In fact, data shows us that this is one of the most challenging areas when it comes to community revitalization in our community, including vacant and underutilized properties, as well as challenges related to workforce development, economic opportunities. Next slide. So why plan again? As I mentioned, the original plan was conducted over 15 years ago. In fact, it's been closer to 20 years that the original quality of life plan was done. And so this is an opportunity to kind of take a step back and reach out to the community to see, are those still challenges, are those challenges still exist, or are there new challenges that exist in West Bloomington? And then how do we really kind of refresh and look at, you know, opportunities for us to strengthen the partnerships that came out of the first plan, and then create a very clear strategy to move community revitalization forward in West Bloomington, and then how we also make sure that we're able to measure the outcome. My mic went off. I'm sorry. I didn't think I hit it. I guess my time up. No, just kidding. Building a strong foundation. So I do want to make sure that we're clear about the difference between the work that the consultant, the CRE team that was here a week or so ago, the work that they're doing for us and what's the difference between this quality of life plan. The CRE work, the transforming neighborhoods work, the CRE is looking at particular neighborhoods. In fact, they are looking at particular properties as it relates to how do we get those vacant properties rehab. That, long story short, that's what that's looking at. The quality of life roadmap, next slide. The quality of life roadmap is more comprehensive, right? So it's going to include that work, but we're also looking at, what does public safety look like in West Bloomington? What does activities for youth and families, economic development, workforce development, placemaking, infrastructure? So it's more inclusive. And so I would put it like this as it relates to how they're connected. The Transforming Neighborhoods project is helping inform the quality of life roadmap. But it is the quality of life roadmap that will create the guidance for the future of what investment looks like in West Bloomington. The Transforming Neighborhoods project with CRE will be folded into this document, right? And so we'll have one, roadmap for West Bloomington versus having 2 or 3 different roadmaps that folks are trying to figure out who should be doing what and when. Next slide. So this process is in 3 phases. Phase 1 is working with West Bloomington Revitalization Project to create a strategic plan, right? How do we build capacity in what is already a great organization on the west side to help us facilitate the implementation that comes out of this roadmap? I would tell you that I think one of the challenges from the first roadmap is identifying who is that quarterback, right? Who's the lead organization that's going to make sure that whatever comes out of this, waking up every day to make sure that those things are getting implemented. That doesn't mean that WBRP is going to implement everything out of the roadmap. But what it does is put an entity, a grassroots organization in a position to help make sure that those things are being, help facilitate those things being done in partnership with us, with the Community Impact and Enhancement Department. And so we'll be working hand in glove with WBRP, not only through this process, but also as it relates to what implementation looks like. Phase 2 would be the quality of life roadmap itself. And so how do we engage the community? This is going to be a very, very grassroots approach to community engagement that I'll talk about on the next slide. And then phase 3 is implementation. This is not TESCA telling us, okay, we've talked to the community, we've done all these workshops, here's what the community is saying, now go implement. The quality of life plan will be so specific that it will identify what are those organizations, who are those private entities, what roles should the city be playing as it relates to the different things that may come out of the implementation plan. Who should be doing what, right? Who should be partnering to do what, right? And then where are those resources going to come from to be able to do that? Next slide. So phase 1, again, this is the strategic plan with West Bloomington Revitalization Project. Again, help build capacity there. Make sure that WBRP and WBRP may feel like, right, okay, we want to expand and do some things differently, right? And so how do we make sure that we're positioning them to be able to do those things from a strategic plan position as well? Next slide. The quality of life roadmap is kind of 4 different things here as it relates to the engagement process. Again, we want to listen. We want to get the word out. This is happening. We want to listen. We want to ask questions, right? But also we want to make sure that we are putting what comes out of that into very clear and concise strategy so that it is very clear who's going to be doing what as it relates to implementation and how that's going to be done. Next slide. The community engagement piece, this is so critical, right? Again, this will be a grassroots, community-driven community engagement process. It will be innovative. We will do everything that we can to make sure that we are engaging all people, not just West Bloomington, but all of Bloomington as part of this. We'll have 3 community workshops. We'll do stakeholder interviews as well as have conversation with focus groups. Folks will have multiple ways to engage with us so that we get their feedback, including creating a mobile-friendly website, doing community polls, as well as interactive comment maps. What's attractive also about this project is that we're not just proposing to do a quality of life roadmap and then talk about what the implementation of those are. But right out of this, This roadmap also has built into it to do an early action project, right? And again, that is to be determined by what comes out of the roadmap itself. I have listed potential examples of what that could look like, but by no means that I'm saying that those are the early action projects that will be done from the roadmap. Next slide. And then phase 3 is the implementation, right? How do we turn ideas into action? And so how do we prioritize the projects? What will we do in the first year? What will happen in the first 3 years? What will happen in the next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, etc. And then identify and assign roles and responsibilities through our interviews and focus group that we would do with community groups as relates to what are those things that we believe fits in their wheelhouse, and then identify where are the resources, where those resources will come from. I will tell you today that I had a meeting with an organization that stands ready to say, hey, listen, we've been looking for something like this because we have dollars that we want to put towards community revitalization, but not really sure how to do that and where to start, right? And so that was very uplifting, at least for me, to know that there are folks in the community that wants to invest in Bloomington, particularly in West Bloomington, but wanting to know how they make that investment that's going to have a impact that folks can see, feel, and touch right away. Next slide. So here are the deliverables and outcomes for this project. I won't read all of those, but at the end of the day, again, we'll do a strategic plan with West Bloomington Revitalization Project, position them to sort of be the lead agency, the quarterback, to help guide us through this process. We'll have the quality of life roadmap itself, and then the implementation of that, as well as an early action item or early action project, I should say. Next slide. We anticipate this being a 10-month process, right? A lot of that has to do with making sure that we're spending the time that we need to with West Bloomington Revitalization Project for the strategic planning piece, because that piece is critical, right? That is the groundwork that needs to happen so that we can make sure that we have folks available and ready to help us with implementation. And then the quality of life roadmap is critical because that's going to entail a lot of community engagement. Again, that we want to make sure that we're talking to folks as much as possible and engaging them as part of this project. And so this project is slated to take approximately 10 months to finish. Next slide is the budget. And so we broke the budget down between the 3 phases as it relates to TSCA's proposal. So phase 1, the strategic plan is about $19,500. TSCA intends to spend about 126 hours in that process. Phase 2 is the quality of life roadmap, 306 hours, 4,750. The implementation plan, right, putting pen to paper as to what we heard from the community in a very clear and concise way. But then the biggest part is doing the outreach, the engagement, being innovative and creative in how we do that, get folks out to be a part of this, as well as what is going to be that early action project that's going to come out of this roadmap on day 1. So the total cost for this project, which is TSCA proposed, is $99,700, and TSCA intend to put in about approximately 500 hours into this project over 10 months. Next slide. And the staff will probably put in about 1,000 hours, but it'll be close. I'll pause now. Mayor, I yield back to you for questions from you and the council.
Thank you. And with that, are there questions from members of the council? Kearns?
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. I think it was a really helpful summary to kind of map out what to expect. Can you help me understand, besides obviously time has passed and a refresh is needed, what is this new quality of life, like the approach to it? What are the new and innovative approaches that's going to be different from what we already did, and that it's going to, things are be different?
Yeah, and so obviously I wasn't here when the first quality of life roadmap was done, right? So I want to be careful about seeing what I think didn't happen, but I would give you my thoughts around that, right? As it relates to what's going to be different. One is that the intent is to have a grassroots lead organization to help move this forward. The West Bloomington Revitalization Project was birthed out of that quality of life plan, and that is fantastic. That is exactly what should have happened as it relates to that. But the question becomes, okay, West Bloomington Revitalization Project, now that you were birthed, right? What are those things from the quality of life plan that was really kind of put on your shoulders to be able to do to move forward? And a lot of things great things came out of that, right? And we can kind of go through the list of that. I think what's different with this is that uh, this quality of life plan will identify specifically, call them out, right? What are those organizations that should be doing X, Y, and Z? What are their roles and responsibility? What is it going to take to get those things done? And what is the time framing of getting those things done? And so that's why I like to call it a roadmap versus a plan, right? Because it's really going to be just that, a roadmap of showing us from year to year what are those things that we should be seeking to accomplish that we can see, feel, and touch, right? That's going to make a real impact, not just in investing in brick and mortar on the west side, but how we investing in people at the same time. I know that's kind of a long way of somewhat answering your question, but I'm just being hesitant about talking about the former plan because I wasn't here for that. But just in reading it, I would tell you that that's what's different about this. The second thing that's different about this is that I think from a community engagement perspective, uh, the intent is that this is going to be a lot more innovative in how we engage people to make sure that we are engaging as many people as possible in meeting people where they are to do that engagement.
Oh, here.
That, that
Just quickly, I appreciate that, and that was really helpful. And yeah, no, we don't have to throw any shade on the other one. Like I just want to know what's
Sure.
moving forward. So it sounds really great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Member Motney, was your light on earlier? Okay, I think Member Ward might have been ahead of you, Member Mosey, Member Ward.
Yeah, thank you for this. I rather than necessarily having questions, I want to offer my support for this. I think that, you know, once a generation or so, 20 years, every 20 years or so, um, any any plan, any area of the community needs kind of a look at it and an opportunity to ask, are we, you know, where are we at this point, and needs a refresh. And so for that reason alone, I'm supportive of this. um I would also say that one thing that stands out for me is that the West Bloomington Revitalization Project now has, you know, many years of boots on the ground experience. And if we truly want community development, it has to start with the people in that community, right? You need the engagement of the particular community that you're trying to develop. It can't be the rest of folks from the outside looking in. And so that again is another reason why I'm supportive of this, because it does have the people who have the boots on the ground experience who are driving the bus in mind here. Um, I would also say that one of the things that I really like about this is that it's taking a big picture approach. Um, there's not one single solution um, to the problems of the West Side, frankly. You've got to approach it from multiple angles. Um, and there's not just one issue, right? Um, a few months ago, I was asking for, actually just a few weeks ago, I was asking for some data on the number of shootings in Ward 7 compared to the rest of the city. We're one of 9 wards, and yet Ward 7 alone so far this year accounts for 38% of the shootings in the city. And that's up from 24 when we were 33% of the shootings, and so on. So the West Side, right, has issues around that. We've got we've got derelict and abandoned houses. We've got a huge number of the emergency service calls come to the west side, right? They dominate that. And we have a lot of good stuff on the west side. The it's not that not just West Siders use. The tool library, for example, draws people from all over the place. The bike co-op brings in people from all over the community. O'Neill Aquatic Center brings in people from all over the community. And so it's not just a West Side problem that we've got to deal with. So those are reasons why I completely support this. One thing that I will find essential to moving on to completely supporting this once that whole 10-month process is done is this has got to have a component of monitoring and evaluation in a formal sense. I'm not just talking about dollars, I'm talking about the effectiveness of programs. And if it doesn't have any roadmap, plan, whatever you want to call it, if it doesn't have an aspect of that, I won't be able to continue to support it. And so I just want to offer that as, please give us that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally understand. And we need to be able to measure the success to know if we're doing it right or if we need to pivot and do something different. So totally agree with you.
Member Mosley.
Yeah, and I appreciate the presentation. And I know, you and I talked a little bit regarding this last time and then this time. And I just want to call out, obviously, it's called the West Side Bloomington Revitalization. But then there's obviously the southwest portion, which
Sure.
kind of aligns to Ward 1 and Ward 2
Yep.
and how we're listed as impacted. And so I knew you were going to provide a little clarity regarding
Yes.
what that actually means because, and I'll just be brief, is when I think about, Ward 2 and even overlapping to Ward 1, right? We know that we're kind of the south access point, but we don't have any groceries and limited food access, right? Minimum commercial development down there. And so obviously housing is increasing. And I don't want people to just assume because we have 2 golf courses down that way or 3 golf courses that everything is affluent. And so just want to make sure that with this work that there's going to be some accountability and ability for Wards 1 and Ward 2 to kind of have some insight into that as well as we consider where those
Absolutely.
channels are.
Yeah, thank you for council member for pointing that out. So the project area will include Ward 6, 7, 1, and 2, right? And so we will be engaging residents from all 4 of those wards, particularly as it relates to Ward 2, particularly those residents in the northern part of Ward 2 will be a part of this process as well. We will intentionally make sure that we're engaging some of those individuals just because of some of the challenges that we also see in Ward 2. You're right. Ward 2 it's not just affluent. There are other areas of Ward 2 that have its challenges, as you just pointed out. But
Opportunities.
yeah, opportunities, right? And so we want to make sure that we are providing solutions for those opportunities. So Wards 1, 2, 6, and 7 will be part of this.
Member Motney.
Sure. So thank you for sharing this proposal with us. I'm interested in understanding what's being planned for transfer of knowledge of methods used. Because, this is a big investment and we have incredible organizations and people that are already investing their time in boards and in service on the West Side. And I'm wondering, how do we make sure that we create knowledge transfer of methods used? Starting maybe with you personally from your prior experience, I understand that maybe Decatur has also gone through a similar path during your tenure there with the same firm. Could you share your experiences? What innovative approaches that you gleaned so that we can work towards self-sufficiency so that $99,700 investment could stay here in our community with local people who are empowered to drive this type of work? Because you said it yourself, and I wholeheartedly agree, it is the people here who will embrace and implement this work. And so I'm just curious if it was a consideration to allow them to actually do the work themselves and how this all got connected.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Let me take a step back and just say, um, that staff will be working hand in glove with Tesca throughout this entire process, right? So this is not a unleash of Tesca in Bloomington to say, hey, we asked for a proposal, you told us what you was gonna do, now just go do it. Um, I would guarantee you that staff will put in just as many, if not more hours, that Tesca will put into this project. You referenced Decatur and the work that I did in Decatur. We partnered with Tesca Associates to do a project called Jasper Street, Great Streets, Great Neighborhoods. And that the particular area that we looked at and we targeted was one of the areas that had the most challenges and opportunities for redevelopment and community revitalization in Decatur. Um, we intentionally work with the boots on the ground organization there, which is Coalition of Neighborhood Organizations, to make sure that we were engaging folks, not really in a sort of a community town hall type of setting, right? Folks don't really do that anymore. Folks don't really come out to those type of things, right? The approach is more so engaging with individuals and making sure that we make sure that we have the type of activities taking place in that one location that is beneficial to those families. For example, we can't have a community meeting at 6 p.m. as in a community with families with children and those type of things, and not make sure that we're accommodating to make sure that we have things for kids to do, or that's usually during dinner time and everybody looking like, where's the food, right? And so what I'm saying is that we're taking a more innovative way in the approach of making sure that we have things that are attractive to families to get families to come out and engage with us. And that's going to take some hard work to do, but I think that we've done some of those things here lately, such as the Cones with Code and just recently with the CRE team to get folks to engage and be a part of that. I would just tell you that engaging in that way, I believe, will reap real benefits for Bloomington. One of the things that Decatur was fortunate to do from that Great Streets, Great Neighborhoods project is to get a $9.9 million federal grant to help implement that project. And I would tell you that the number one reason why they received that is because the innovative approach we took to community engagement was very attractive to the Department of Transportation. So I'm just giving you some example of the type of things that we have to do in this climate, right? To be able to engage people in a meaningful way.
Yes, and I want to compliment you. I mean, you've done a really nice job of engaging people at local events over these last few months to bring people in and get their input using creative and innovative ways. My question really is to understand the need to bring in an out of town, Evanston-based firm in order to do
Yeah.
that when you have built those skills in order to do that yourself and have the experience of learning from them during your time in Decatur in order to do that effectively.
Yeah, and it really comes down to having both the skill set and the capacity to be able to do that. And just unfortunately, right now we just don't have the capacity to do that at this level that it's going to take to get this across the finish line.
So just to clarify then, if you had capacity to do the work, you feel that you would be able to handle it internally?
Both capacity and skill set, yes.
So you've
It's
got the skill set, you would just need the capacity.
well, I think we got some of the skill sets, right? And so, as part of the Tesla proposal, I think you have a team of 4 or 5 as part of these projects with skill set ranges from urban planning to Scott himself been in his work a lot longer than I have. So I think we have some of the skill set, but I think it really just boils down to having the people compassion to be able to do it.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, I fully support the need to continuously, update, and I agree also with Alderwoman Ward's comments that we should be setting baselines, measures, and following up, because what we don't need is another plan that just goes into our city, filing cabinet online.
Won't happen on my watch. I can
So,
assure you that.
anyway, and I do think that it would behoove everyone to learn from this as
Yes.
you have previously, because I question the value add when you've gone down this path already. And it sounds like you probably have the confidence and the skill to do what we're going to be paying someone else to do.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Member Hendricks. Are there any questions that you have, Member Hendricks? And I think we're going to need to extend time here too if we have more questions.
Yeah, I don't have any additional questions. Thanks for the time. And thank you, Cordero, for putting this together and presenting this to us. And thank you to the WBRP for taking the lead in a lot of ways as well. I have nothing new. I echoed the sentiments of my colleagues. I'm really excited to see the implementation plan, because I think Member Motney is right. Sometimes these plans go on shelves, but I think with that implementation plan, I'm hoping we can see some direct decisions that we will take post-plan to make sure we see this into fruition. So thank you.
Member Kearns,
I just move we approve the item.
there's a motion on the floor.
I
I'm
actually
sorry.
had an additional question.
Go ahead. Do we need to extend some time here? Member Lee has a question before we take a motion.
I was just say, if somebody would second the motion, that would be great. And just
Second.
take his question.
Seconded by Member Dannenberger.
Thank you.
Okay, so the motion's on the floor, but go ahead with his question.
Yeah, it's just really quick. I noticed you had split up this project in 2 phases. Is there a way to, I guess, approve the budget by phase? 'Cause to Councilmember Ward's point, it sounds like, I don't know if we have an end perspective here of like, what are those baselines? What are we trying to accomplish here? Are we moving in the right direction? I feel like we're just approving the lump sum, and then we're just gonna figure it out along the way and then implement the plan. That's just what I'm, hearing from the phases. So just wondering, is that lump sum gonna be enough? Is it too much? Can we split, vote on the project by phases? I guess is my basic question is, can we take that approach?
And Director, before you answer that, do we need to put some time or have a motion made by member to move
Sure,
forward
if
the
you'd like.
extension time?
Yeah, if you'd like to do that, you could.
Okay. Not?
I'll move another 5 minutes.
Okay,
Member Ward, seconded. Second. By Member Dannenberger.
all right.
Put
All in
5
favor?
minutes on the clock.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll go back to,
Well, I had a question
well, I'm
related to
sorry,
that.
member Lee needed his question answered, correct? Yes,
So,
please go
so,
ahead.
so it's one proposal. What I did was I wanted the council to be aware of the the process, to know that this is a 3-step process. So it's not, the proposal is not breaking down to cost, X, Y, and Z. You can do one phase and not the other one, if I can say it that way. I just wanted council to understand that it's 3 phases. What does it cost in the time being spent for all 3 of those phases to get us to a solid document that we can begin to implement? So the proposal is not broken down, and we didn't put the RFP out there to be broken down to pick one phase or another phase of the project. I would tell you the other proposal doesn't even break it down into phases, right? And so I think Tesca just did a great job of clearly identifying to us what those phases are and what is the cost and time associated with those phases.
All right, so this is to vote on that analysis that Tesca will be providing. Is that correct? Or
Right. Yeah, right. It's the vote is for approving the contract with Tesla Associates to do the strategic plan with WBRP, as well as do the quality of life roadmap, which will include an implementation piece.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now, Member Ward.
Yeah, just to clarify, something like that would require an amendment, right? Which we would have needed to have gotten before noon today, right?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We already have a motion on, unless there's any other comments or questions from members. All right. There is a motion by Member Kern, seconded by Member Dannenberger. And we would ask the clerk to take a roll, please.
The item passes, no nays to announce.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll move on the regular agenda item to letter B, which is consideration and action on an ordinance approving text amendments to the zoning code of the city of Bloomington, chapter 44. And we will ask our city manager, Mr. Jurgens, to make introductions of this next item.
Thank you very much. Again, Mayor and Council, this is a package of text amendments per our new policy. We are bringing these always up the regular agenda, so we have an opportunity to talk about them and spotlight them a little bit. This one, these text amendments were unanimously approved by the Planning Commission. Today, we've heard some feedback, and so I do think staff has one update that they would like to propose as well to clarify something. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Development Services and Alyssa Pemberton.
Good evening, council members, mayor. Phil, I'm actually going to ask you to the first or the last slide first. All right, we'll get the easy part out of the way. You have a amendment to Exhibit A in front of you today that looks a little bit different than what was in your packet. Part of that is that numbers were moved around. You know, A became 1 and 2 became C because our previous amendment was codified into E code while all this happened. There is no substantial change in that. There is one substantial change, and that is in front of you. This is based upon feedback that we had and council member inquiry that we've had since the Planning Commission. So instead of the word paved, staff had proposed to put asphalt or concrete because that's actually what it is elsewhere in the code. We were just doing the cleanup. Since that, we received some really great feedback that they'd like to be more flexible. We're totally on board with that. We like stormwater not being as big a problem. So we have proposed to replace paved with a hard surface as defined in our definitions section, which actually also allows brick and pavers after these amendments. So we still meet the goals of making sure we don't have dust and mud in our streets for highly traveled areas, but we have a lot more support for and flexibility for alternate materials and stormwater management. Okay. That is the only substantial change from what's in front of you to what was in your packet. And now we can go back to the beginning if no one has questions about that specific thing.
I'm assuming that that
Go
was
ahead,
in
sir.
before noon today. That staff amendment change.
That was the specific words
Thank you.
were not, but yes, Mr. Spanos fixed it.
Thank you.
Clarification, excuse me. When you say that it was in before noon today, the email that we got from Deputy City Manager Tyus is timed at 12:32. Was there some kind of notification that this amendment was before noon? Other than that?
Yeah, we had a request.
Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we had a request from council member Dannenberger about it first thing, either last night or first thing this morning.
First thing this morning.
Yeah.
But the amendment itself.
May I?
Yeah.
The amended
Yep.
language didn't come back in for us to review that. in a reasonable amount of time, I think. Is that what you're trying to get to?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. First of all, I want to thank everyone who worked very hard on these text amendments. I know it's tedious and it's near perfect, and a lot of these updates needed to be done. So first of all, thank you for that. With regard to the driveways, and especially in light of the rainwater and the flooding and everything we've seen the last couple of weeks, I think it's very important that we allow our residents to mitigate these risks for their own driveways and houses and properties any way they deem fit, and including grass or gravel. And usually when you're using a permeable paver, you're going to use a little bit of gravel, sand and gravel. And I know people in Ward 4 have really great driveways, even on Sunset, these geometric patterns with bricks with grass in it. So is that going to be excluded, or can we maybe just cut this wording off at equivalent dust-free material as approved by the city engineer and development service director, period? And not
Oh,
necessarily,
will you go back to the last slide again?
yeah, not necessarily exclude anything. I mean, most people are going to use permeable pavers and sand and use those adhesives the way they do. So I think we can get there, but I don't want to necessarily exclude grass because I've seen it done well. And I don't want to exclude gravel either if we don't have to, because I've seen that done well.
I understand the intent. I think doing that goes back to exactly what Councilmember Ward is concerned about. This hard surface definition is used throughout the code. So we recommended these changes already based on how it is used in the rest of the code, which includes having to comply with some engineering standards where it interacts elsewhere. So there's not a simple way of doing it the way you're proposing. We either could leave this change out. We could move forward with the slightly improved condition.
Can I continue?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to clarify what I actually am concerned about rather than people trying to read my mind here. I am very concerned about us eliminating gravel as a possibility. And so I would like to either have us table this thing until we can have time to make that proposed change, or we suspend our rules about the noon thing and we amend it right here. I don't care which one, but I want the opportunity for us to consider going back to allowing gravel. I feel like not letting people have gravel driveways, particularly in my neighborhood, is burdensome on people, and from a monetary perspective, it costs a lot of money to do hard surfaces. And I think that allowing people to have gravel is an important thing. Yeah.
I would just like to offer that the current code doesn't allow gravel. So we were not trying to propose to Plan Commission to change anything. If we did want to consider more options and literally change code so gravel is permissible, that to me would be a text amendment that needs to go back to Plan Commission for public hearing, because we were just simply trying to clarify what some other portions of code were. So I think we would just need direction on that if you want us to try to bring that back.
I would like to move that we table this and send it back.
There's a motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I would second that for driveways. Yeah.
Or that's what I was just going to ask, the clarifying just portion.
Yes.
Second. So member Dannenberger just seconded.
Second for driveways, yes.
To the motion. Great.
To the motion, yeah.
Okay. Would you, clerk, go ahead and take a roll?
Yeah, I'm gonna just call this one really quick. Councilmember Kearns?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosley?
Yes.
Councilmember Motney?
Yes.
Councilmember Dannenberger?
Yes.
Councilmember Straza?
Yes.
Councilmember Ward?
Aye.
Councilmember Lee?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Councilmember Hendricks?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the motion passes and will be tabled to the next council meeting
Just
for that portion.
So this portion will actually have to be researched, renoticed, and have a public hearing in front of the
Okay.
planning commission. The rest of it can proceed with your permission.
So-
Or, okay.
There's an open-ended date then with the work that needs to be done. Okay. Next, we can move forward then. All right. Is there something that either City Manager Jurgens or City Manager Tyus wanted to? Okay. All right. We prefer to go right ahead then with the remainder of the presentation.
So there are
The
pretty
motion
much three
the item.
themes running through these text amendments. The first is to make commonly used provisions, and primarily those that the public interacts with all the time, more easy to read, more easy to comply with. It is not uncommon that it will be a combination of 6 different provisions that gives me one answer. We tried to take those and put them in 1 or 2 sentences in one place. The second is really a review and figuring out how do we do a better job of protecting public investment and public infrastructure. We've spent a lot of money on public roads, public waters, public sewers, and we are not doing as good a job either of using them or protecting them as we could be. And then the third is allowing some urban subdivisions, and I'll explain what that means, to modify where buildings go. Doesn't change what buildings can go there, changes the organization. Next slide, please. These are all just visual because it's the most helpful way of looking at it. So one of the big components that we tried to figure out how to make easier to understand is where you can park a car. And these are operational or non-operational vehicles. The short answer is if it's an operational vehicle, you're driving it, it needs to be in a parking space, right? It can be in front of your garage, it can be in your garage, it can be behind your garage, it can be on the street if there's street parking. It can't be in your front yard in your grass. It can't be in your neighbor's front yard in your grass. It can't be in your driveway across the sidewalk. There's one little yellow question mark there. If you can fit your car between your house and a 3-foot setback, some properties you can put the car there. There is far more strict for non-operational vehicles. If your car doesn't run, it doesn't need to be taking up a on-street parking space that someone needs to be able to get in and out of their house. It should be either in the garage or it should be in the backyard appropriately screened or in a shed or detached garage appropriately screened. Fairly self-explanatory. If it's a car, park it in a parking space, right? Which means hardened parking space. And if it's an inoperable car, put it in a garage or where we can't see it on an appropriate surface. Crystal clear? Okay. Next slide. Operational vehicles for shared driveways. This one is an additional flexibility that is not currently in the code, but used to be in other codes. We are re-allowing shared driveways. They're all over our community. I suspect the reason we got rid of them is from the headache of having to manage the he said, she said. So we've re-allowed shared driveways with the requirement that a recorded driveway agreement that manages who's going to pay for it and how we're going to manage it gets recorded before you get that building permit. But even in that case, you can't park your car in your yard. You can't park your car hanging over the driveway or hanging over the sidewalk, and you can't park it between your 2 houses so the other people can't get to their garages or parking spots. Got it? Next slide, please. Camping, recreational, and trailer parking. This is another super confusing section in the code right now. It's not supposed to be that hard. You need to not park it in your yard where it's just going to dig itself in while you roll it in and out over the summer for 20 times. Shouldn't be on the street parking where passenger vehicles are supposed to be getting in and out. You may, of course, always store your stuff in your garage or in your shed on your property. It is possible, once again, those little yellow question marks, if you can fit it because you got a super wide lot or a big driveway and you're still not on someone else's property and 3 feet back, go for it. The most important piece of this, I think, we did not propose to change any dates. Those are the dates that are currently in the code. This was really about just trying to help people figure out where they can put it and what they can put it on at what time of year. It's not supposed to be that complicated. Next slide, please. So this is that second topic. This is about protecting public infrastructure, both our investment and the physical infrastructure itself. We right now have a 3-foot accessory structure setback. However, in building code, in order to prevent you having to not have any openings and having to fire rate your walls, you have to be 5 feet back for a residential structure. We also happen to have a ton of 5-foot utility and drainage easements on plats in subdivisions all over town. And so by having that 3-foot setback, we can't even exempt reviewing your 8x8 Lowe's shed that you go out and buy and want to put up that day, because there could be something in that 5 feet that we genuinely could cause damage to an adjacent property. So if we move it back 5 feet, we're out of most of the people's problems. It also just is better, clear understanding, less likely for people to cause problems in the first place. And we, because of this, are able to provide an exemption for permitting under 120 square feet if you're not putting it on a permanent slab. So when you want to go to Sam's and you get your 10 by 10 shed, put it up 5 feet inside the property, I don't want to write a permit. I don't want to review a permit. Please just don't damage things. Next slide. This is the modification of urban forms. So there are 2 examples here. The goal here is have the pretty public space in the front, which facilitates things like people enjoying their front porches. It reduces automobile and pedestrian interaction by putting the driveways in the back. It also means that some of the visually unpleasant components of life go in the backyard where they're supposed to go, rather than out in the front where you have 40 feet of driveway. This only works for new subdivisions or subdivisions that were built this way in the first place. This cannot happen, because the way your amendment is proposed, in any of the subdivisions that were platted with front load 3-car garages that drive up the front yard. So the one that is directly in front of you is an example how this modification has been proposed to work with Vista Crossing. These are single-family platted shotgun where you walk into the front door and you drive into the back garage. All it does is let them move the house 15 to 15 feet instead of 25. Next slide, please. This is the same thing, but it was platted over 100 years ago. Still the same structure. It's alleys in the back and rear access with sidewalks in the front, and the houses moved forward. If we had already had this in place, the 2 infills that look a little out of place there would have been able to pop on in and look exactly like the community that they are already a part of. Next slide. I also wanted to show exactly where this couldn't happen, because I think it's very obvious once you see the actual layout of the lots. If we're relying for this modification, relying on rear access and a platted public or private alley, you would have to take property from every single one of those houses, 10 feet off the back of every single one of those lots somehow, in order to install that additional infrastructure. Plus, because we required it only if there were no front accesses, you'd have to convince them all to get rid of their driveways or force them all to get rid of their driveways. It just practically is not possible in a subdivision that wasn't set up that way in the first place. It requires so much infrastructure, reallocation, and movement. The private property, it's practically impossible. We'll just, one more slide, I think. 2 more slides. Last subject also in trying to make better use of our public infrastructure is we have a whole lot of B1, that general commercial district that it's supposed to be our highest and most intensive commercial district. We spent a lot of money on public roads to get these spaces easy to access. And then it's been assigned all over the community in places where it's not easy to access. We don't actually have enough water supply to get the fire suppression we need to continue to develop the properties. That is wasteful to both our developers' time, who go, well, let me look at any B1 property, and then find that they can't actually make use of the property the way they should. It's also not good stewardship to us. If you don't need that commercial access, you shouldn't be going on B1 property. So the attempting to align the uses in B1 and with what is approved or encouraged even in B1 with what gives back financially and actually needs the public investment, combined with, Phil, if you'll flip one more slide, really aggressively going forward and looking at places that are not B1. This is zoned B1. This should not be zoned B1. You can't get there. You have to take 3 left turns to get to that property that looks like it's on veterans property. Like no Walmart would ever survive there. That tells me it's not actually B1. So the combination of aligning that district really with the intent and the amount of time and money we've spent on investing in those, combined with some aggressive going out and doing that right zoning you guys have asked us so wonderfully to do, and getting a handle on these commercial properties is going to be wonderfully helpful to everyone, I believe. That's all I have for slides, and it's a million pictures, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Now to council for the second portion of the proposal here. Is there questions? Member Ward.
I have a question. Thank you for this. I have a question about the accessory dwellings. If you could go back to that slide, is the one where you were talking about the placement of sheds close to the property line. Is it currently 5 feet or is that new?
It is currently 3 feet.
Okay.
This would require all accessory structures to move into 5 feet.
And are those are the ones that are already there grandfathered in? So like if there's a shed in someone's backyard that's closer than 5 feet, they're not going to have to tear that out and move it.
No, this is not a performance standard, so it's what's there is there.
Okay.
New things would need to be at this 5 foot, or if something were demolished and reconstructed, it would need to meet the 5.
Thank you.
Other members with questions? If not, on the second portion of this amendment, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by member Straza,
Second.
seconded by member Dannenberger, and the clerk would call the roll, please.
Thanks. Just for clarification, I want to make sure I have this right. The first one was a motion to postpone and send back section 404 applicable to driveway services. Okay. We just, for legal,
We have
we
a
want,
motion on the floor. Let me go to member Hendricks because I failed to ask if there was a question that he may have.
yeah, we've got motion and second.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no questions. Thank you.
I'm getting you the precise. I believe it's 404.3. It's 404D. Here, 404D3 under driveways. The driveways must be paved using concrete or asphalt. Those provisions will not be moving forward as part of this proposed text amendment.
All right. So then the motion I'll present is to approve the item with the exception of section 404D3 previously addressed.
Correct.
Is that okay? Thank you. And the seconder is fine with that too, I assume? That's you, Dannenberger. Thanks. All right, I will put that forward for the vote. Thank you for clarification.
We'll take the roll.
It's going. Phil, can I see my screen, please? The item passes, no nays to announce.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. And next we'll move on to our Finance Director, Mr. Scott Rathman, for a Finance Director's report. Mr. Jurgens, any specifics regarding what you want to review?
Just as he gets ready for this, for those of you who have loved the existing format of the Finance Director's report, this is the last hurrah for that. We will still always provide the great numbers and the data, but we are looking to update this in future reports to be a little bit more graphical, maybe some charts and some different things like that. So bear with us as we work through that, but we need a little bit more time as we work to do that. So with that, Mr. Rathman's got the standard finance report for this month. Thank you.
There are a couple of enhancements, and thank you for that. City Manager Jurgens, you saved me from apologizing. It's a work in progress. This is the first look at FY27. It's super early in the fiscal year. We only have 1 month of sales taxes. Literally a half hour before this meeting, I noticed that we don't have the grocery tax line and the major tax revenues. I was talking to people back there. Should update that. But it's enough to kind of give us an impression of where we're headed at this early time. So next slide, please. So this is a standard major tax revenues exhibit. We stuck with these same categories over the last several years. The information I was mentioning about the grocery tax, historically that has been a part of the state sales tax line. It's being split out by the Department of Revenue now. We're receiving that separately. So it's going to pose some challenges related to year-over-year comparisons. So I'll have to discuss that with Mr. Tomerlin about how we want to do that. So looking at that state sales tax line, you're going to see a $292,000 decrease over prior year. Well, that prior year included the grocery tax. Now, it doesn't explain, that one line item doesn't explain the large reduction we're seeing in the year-to-date budget variance and the prior year-to-date variance. But through researching this, we found that there was a one-time very, very large purchase that occurred a year ago that skewed. We front loaded some of the budgeting numbers. It was a $500,000 positive home rule and state sales tax from that single purchase a year ago. So no alarm bells here from seeing those large numbers like the $344,000 negative variance in home rule. Like I said, we kind of budget the full year and then we seasonalize it based on history. So with that one purchase a year ago, we seasonalized some of those extra revenues early part of the year, $500,000 taken out of that. What we are seeing is some flattening of those sales tax, but by next month, we'll have that straightened out. So we get some better visibility on that. Plus just another month is going to give us a lot more information. One thing I do want to highlight, replacement tax, PPRT, is up year to date, 66,000. 114,000 over prior year. The Department of Revenue actually provides projections for that revenue category. We've budgeted 2.9 million. You can see in the annual budget line, they're showing about $400,000 more than that budget for their projection. We're trending that way with the positive variance so far. So it appears the clawback that we experienced over the prior years from the overfunding of that category by the state is over. Just as a reminder, we hit actually $6.4 million in annual revenue for PPRT back in FY23, and now we're down back more into that reasonable range of about $3 million. All the other categories are trending to plan or to budget, so those are looking good for now. Next slide, please. And then just real quickly, as City Manager Jurgens said, this is the standard format, so we always go through the general fund income statement. I've just revamped the title here, put income statement on it. This is a revenue category, very early for projections. Want to highlight that we always typically have put a stat on that line next to the July 31st, 2026, it shows annualized trend is 25%. That just indicates we're 3 months through the year. That's 25% of the year. That doesn't really indicate on some of these categories where we're going to be. A lot of property taxes come in early, and we'll get funding in some categories earlier than others. So that's just another perspective to keep. But I will highlight a couple of line items here compared to prior year. Taxes were at 22.7 million. Prior year was at 21.4. So we're about a $1.3 million ahead. That's primarily related to the increase in property taxes that we approved, council approved last fall of $3 million. So that's driving that for now. Charges for services, 5.3 million year to date, 4.1 million prior year to date. We have a lot of variances in the ambulance charging cycle. So that just kind of up and down through the year we can have some really high months. So that's just a timing difference. Next slide, please. Otherwise, nothing really to indicate any trending to be concerned about or aware of at this point. The expense side of things, again, the annualized trend 25%, but you can see salaries and benefits are at 27%. There's seasonality that drives the financials for the city. So everyone's aware of all the parks and rec activity in the summertime with the aquatics and all the recreational programs. There's more maintenance for our parks, et cetera. So that skews some of that seasonality from that perspective. On down, I have a note here, prior year variance timing with pension payments. That should be up a line related to other intergovernmental expenditures. So the property taxes come in and we pay the pension funds, public safety pension funds. Depending on when those property taxes come in, it can just change that timing from year to year. But I want to highlight the other expenditures where I don't have a note. You can see that we're at year to date $1.6 million. Last year at this time, we had $195,000. That's related to the UEP development agreement payment that we made and council approved for $1.4 million. Next slide, please. So the enterprise funds summary, this schedule's been completely revamped. Jeff hasn't had a chance really to review this. This could change again, but the format here is really more like the revenue schedule, the major tax revenues. Really, we're focusing on the revenues for the enterprise funds. The next slide is going to show the other kind of concerns. So what are we worried about with enterprise funds? Is the revenue coming in, and are the capital projects coming in at budget, or the bids coming in way over budget? So we're adding another potential exhibit coming up here after this slide related to that. So revenues, just to highlight water, we have 35.7 million budgeted for the year. We're 25% through the year. With the utility related funds, water, sewer, storm, solid waste, those are pretty straight lines. So we're just going to use a straight line calculation on the year to date budget. So $8.9 million would be 25% of 35.7 million. And where are we year to date actual through this point? We're at 8.9 million, 62,000, $30,000 ahead of budget, dead on, 0.3% positive variance. You can see sewer is ahead by 8%, but what's driving that is we have $60,000 in tap-on fees related to one project in sewer. That's almost double the annual budget for tap-on fees. So that's driving that variance there. But you can see storm and solid waste, they're right on with their budgets. And then sticking with those utility funds, related funds going down to the comparisons from prior year. You can see the year-to-date actual for water was almost 6.7 million. Where prior year variance of 2.3 million, 34% increase. That's the final 33% increase that was approved by council a few years ago. And then sewer is up 8%, but that's being driven by the CPI increase that we did, which was a little over 4% plus the tap on fees. And then storm and solid waste are 5%. Again, the CPI was more like 4%. So just some timing differences there. In golf and arena, those are very seasonally impacted as far as revenues go. So I do have a calculation for the 25% target for revenues, but really I think we need to focus on the year to date, the prior year to date. So for golf, the prior year to date actual is 1.485 versus the year to date actual this year, 1.568. So $82,000 ahead of prior year, 6% increase. And the arena is really ahead of prior year, $242,000 ahead of last year, 80% better than prior year at this time. Next slide, please. And then this is an additional exhibit we're looking at adding. So this is a summary for capital projects, showing the adopted budget, the revised budget, because there's some big moving parts sometimes when it comes to capital projects. And then what's been awarded so far. And then we're looking at adding another column here, given our discussions with the city manager and what we want to present, that shows plus or minus award versus adopted budget. So just for an example, if we had a project that was budgeted for $1 million and it came in at 1.5 million, we'd show positive $500,000 that it came in over budget in that a column that is yet to be added. So, this is $12 million original budget, $120 million revised budget. This can really drive, concerns for our financials if these larger projects and the bids come in over what we budgeted. So just picking capital improvement, you can see $7.3 million was budgeted, $14.8 million, that's a revised budget. What is that for? Sunnyside Park, right? So we did a budget amendment for 7.5 million. That's being completely funded by Benward, except for a small grant from the DNR. But that was an amendment that was approved just a couple of months ago for the fiscal year. So right now, that is the only budget amendment that we've had for the fiscal year related to capital projects. And the next slide, please. And then once again, reminding council and the community that all budgetary information is online, details on all of our budgets and these summary financials. So with that, I'll stop to see if there's any questions, but with the closing comment that we are looking at completely revamping this and trying to provide more of a visual interpretation or perspective on the financials.
Thank you very much. And with that, are there members who have questions or comments? Member Monty.
So when you're doing that, I don't want to assume you're going to be putting back in the trending so that we're going to see multi-years of experience as opposed to just the 1 year look back that we saw today.
City Manager Jorgens has put that in a bullet as far as like what our goal is to provide. Now, we have not provided multiple year trending in the monthly reports to date, but that's something we're looking at adding.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other members? Member Hendricks?
Sorry, I paused. He actually dropped off of the meeting right
Okay.
after this last item.
All right.
Apologies.
There's be no other questions. So thank you very much for the report. Next on the agenda, we'll move to our city manager's discussion and City Manager Jorgens.
Thank you very much. If they could pull up my report. First, he left, but I do want to apologize to Mr. Lander. You see up there, our purpose at the city is to make life better, and clearly we fell short in the situation he was talking about. I know that we had some staff reach out to him. We will certainly follow up with him and see what happened there and how we can make some adjustments going forward on some of those issues. Next slide. Wanted to give a quick update on the streetscape as it continues making very good progress. Right now, they're getting ready for the first round of asphalt, and the brickwork will also be starting. So on the 400 block, again, all the sidewalks are open, but they are making really good progress. Hopefully, within a couple of weeks here, that block is going to be entirely back open. Next slide. Just a quick update on GJ Lofts, the former State Farm headquarters building. Today, if you were around the downtown, you saw a 175-ton crane, which you do not see every day in our downtown, but I will tell you it's exciting when you do. They were renovating the rooftop and removing some of the cooling towers and boilers and other equipment as they make way for the rooftop deck, the tenant lounge, and other fitness facility. Had an opportunity to just touch base with the owner of the project and said that it's on time and on budget, which is always good to hear, making good progress on floors 10 through 13. And so just wanted to provide a quick update that they are working on that nearly every day downtown, and they seem to be making really good progress. Next slide. We have the data center panel discussion coming up on Wednesday. Everybody is invited to attend that. You can submit your questions electronically using that QR code, or there's a link on the website as well. We are going to leave this open through the end of the day. I think maybe, midnight tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we will be working to compile all the questions. I think there's well over 100 submissions so far. But we want to see how many questions we could get answered. If there are duplicates, we'll try and address that. We announced the panelists last week, and so those names are up there. We think we've got a good diverse group of people that will be speaking and helping to answer questions. And then just a reminder that the Planning Commission public hearings on this topic, that'll be the opportunity for people to come and testify in front of the Planning Commission. We will have 2 public hearings on this matter, one October 1st and the other November 5th. Likely maybe over at the BCPA, we have to figure out how big of a crowd we're going to have for that, so we can accommodate that, but we will certainly give the public ample notice for that. For the thing on Wednesday, it is at the BCPA from 5 to 8. Next slide. Want to again say thank you to our public works crews. As of the end of today, they had already hauled 1,158 loads of debris. That is substantially more than what we saw in the tornado there. We only had a total of 442. That's a 161% increase, and I don't even know if they're halfway through it. So the devastation with the trees and everything down. Now we're adding some of the bulk that people are getting out there from the flood damage. So really appreciate the public works crews and what they're doing. They're working a lot of overtime to help get things cut up. They're working on the weekends, but it is still going to take some time, and we ask everybody to be patient on that. We have identified hot zones that are ever changing, but that we're going to. And then also when the regular routes are being run, if there's debris there, the drivers are communicating that back to the public works management to come back and hit that in bulk pickup. So we're attacking this a couple of different ways. But again, this is just such widespread damage that it's going to take a while. Also want to shout out the forestry crews who are doing an amazing job. They're estimating that there could be another 700 to 800 limbs up in trees that need to be addressed. So it is going to take us a while to address all of that. We had a crew from Champaign last week here helping us, and a forestry crew, and they are also here again this week helping us. So we really appreciate that. And again, we put out information, but if you have a tree issue, we're asking people to call our forestry division, and that number is 309-434-2220. All of that was put out today via press release, and that information will be on our website as well. Next slide. And then finally, just an update. We are continuing to encourage people to share if they've had damage on our website through these forms that go through to the emergency management agency. So far, we've had 280 submissions of report damage just in the city of Bloomington, 9 businesses, 269 residences. The mayor and I had a visit with State Farm today. They reported having about 1,600 claims in the McLean County area. So again, this storm just caused a lot of damage. It's going to take us a while to pick up, but really appreciate all the work the employees are doing and the crews and the patience of the community that's out there. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any comments or questions to our city manager? If not, we'll move to council member discussions, and we'll start with Member Scott.
Thank you very much. I just have 2 things to talk about or to mention today. One, thanks to the library bookmobile, better know a district situation or tour. So grateful for that. Really understood. It helped me understand that the amount of community engagement that goes on, it is not just books. Really working to make sure that the library is meeting the community where it needs it. Really appreciate that. And then secondly, I also want to say thank you to the deputy city manager and corporate counsel for taking care of very quickly taking care of the issue that was brought in public comment, and just it underlines that folks are listening and that public comment works. Thank you.
I just want to shout out what City Manager Jurgen said about the public works crews and everyone pitching in. Ward 8 was hit pretty hard, and there's still a lot of limbs out there, but I see trucks going around back and forth, people out there working hard. So I just ask the people's patience. The city's working hard to clean up the damage. And yeah, if you run into a public works person, just please thank them for their hard work.
Yeah, I also want to just say another wonderful thing about the West Side is Illinois Wesleyan University. And I would like to wish all the students, faculty, and staff of Illinois Wesleyan a wonderful start to the new school year, which began today.
Thank you. Member Straza.
Yeah, just want to again thank the Public Works and everyone that's forestry, everyone out there doing all the work. It's a lot of work, a lot of time. Thanks for addressing questions. I continue to have people in my ward that keep on asking, just clarifying from brush to bulk pickup, what that means, and just they appreciate the Bella put as much stuff out there as possible because a lot of people now are dealing with the water damage, and there's a lot of materials out there that they are hoping they're not getting charged. And I told them they were not being charged for that, and I got that confirmed. So I just want to thank you for the patience and the quick answers you guys have been given to us.
Thank you. Member Dannenberger. Thank you. Member Motney.
Yes, yeah, obviously, I mean, thank you. Public Works has been amazing. So thank you so much for that. So on Friday, the 21st, from 3 to 5, I attended the annually scheduled Mental Health and Public Safety Advisory Council meeting. That meeting is where the budget is requested. It is not a meeting again where projects are queued up. For anyone who hasn't watched that meeting, I encourage you to watch it because it was a really good understanding of the fact that we do not in that meeting prioritize projects. That's done by the community of practitioners that support those processes. There will be another special meeting of the Mental Health and Public Safety Fund Advisory Council on August the 28th, this coming Friday at 1 p.m. if anyone is interested in attending that. That is to review some proposed policy changes that the staff has asked for to allow multi-year continuation awards to be offered through the safety, public safety and mental health funds. That's all I have.
Much. Member Mosley.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge, like everyone, Public Works, but also police and fire. Unfortunately, but fortunately, I had to call the fire department during the storms, during the heaviest part, and their response was really swift. It was because one of my neighbors, one of the transformers had fallen into their yard, and kind of was like shocking or burning their yard. And so, but the responsiveness during that storm was so swift. So just wanted to give them an acknowledgement as well. Also last month, or 2 weeks ago, Alderman Straza and myself, as well as the city manager, was able to go to Opelika, Alabama, and Auburn, Alabama, with the chamber for an inner city tour and event. And so I was fortunate to go as well last year to a different city. But just wanted to acknowledge the ability to engage with other cities and encourage other council member if you get a chance to go and kind of share some of Bloomington Normal as well as kind of see what's happening in other areas. And that's it.
Thank you, Member Kearns.
Yeah, just a couple of quick shout outs. Of course, thank the public works crews and the people out there every day. I don't think I used my car in the last week and didn't see a full truck full of tree limbs going somewhere from somewhere. I know my mom was particularly happy this morning when thankfully my brother and I got our stuff together and got that tree limb cut up and onto the curb so that it could get picked up this morning. So I was very grateful for that timing. And then the second thing I wanted to shout out was the Promise Council in our community. And that is essentially an organization that works with schools to help kids. Their goal is to remove barriers to learning so all children can have the opportunity to achieve success. And there are lots of Promise Councils at all schools in District 87, Unit 5, elsewhere, outside of our two communities. And one of the things that I have participated in the last couple of years is called 100 Caring Adults, where a bunch of adults, go in front, like welcome kids to school at the beginning of the school year. And so I had the opportunity to do that at a few places, including my elementary school that I grew up going to. So that was extra special for me. And there's just a lot of people, from all over, electeds, community leaders. I saw union leaders. I saw sorority, fraternity leaders, just everyone trying to bring smiles to kids' faces now that summer's over and school has started, and making sure they have a good school year.
Thank you. Regarding my comments, I think might have a slide or two to be brief here. First off, to the points of Member Kearns, to the Promise Council, I joined this morning in Oakland. I know that Member Strauss has been at schools, others have been at schools as the year kicks off, and thank you. And to Member Ward at IWU, I know that City Manager Jurgens and others were at the back to school barbecue kickoff last Friday for the university, and it was a great event. And also in regards to Public Works, I can't say enough about what's going on and the work that continues. Or you've all said, I spent from about 6 a.m. on Friday of last week till about 3 in the afternoon. I would like to think I was help. I don't know if I was a hindrance to them or not, but nonetheless, the danger that I learned of those limbs that are still up there in these trees was eye-opening. Parked cars, what a challenge to be driving in loaders around parked cars. Unbelievable what they're doing, and bulk versus brush changing, and the equipment that they have. And of course we all wish they had different equipment and more of it at that time, but they're making good use and working very hard. And forestry, as everyone has said, we thank everybody, first responders, all across the board. It was just simply an amazing and eye-opening experience, and we thank them for what they do. Next, as City Manager Jurgens indicated, we did tour OSF at St. Joseph's for the storm damage with U.S. Representative Sorensen and others. And the damage there is believed to be over $17 million. And we know we've had the local declaration. We know we've had now the state, federal, and the threshold of $26 million that we have to come up with. And what's in the fine print continues to be worked. But it was simply amazing of what all those angels of mercy did out at the hospital at that time. Not to mention across Division Street to Carl and what they've done in receiving patients to help. Just simply amazing. And the damage was just something else. And how people functioned and continued on was wonderful. They did a great job. Today we were at State Farm to see their storm response center. That is an area out in the parking lot area of the mobile claim side of things. And it's just a reminder of how things have changed from the traditional call your agent and hope for the best and get out to how State Farm and others in the insurance industry are adopting to these storms, which they highlighted. Obviously, Illinois, unfortunately, is claiming the prize in many of the numbers when it comes to especially hail and wind damage throughout the most recent storms, as we can all attest to. With that, I believe Culture Fest was one of the events that at Miller Park on Saturday that I attended, and was a great turnout and a great weather. So lots of things going on, lots of solidarity, and it's amazing how hard people are working, and who does not care who gets the credit, just out there working. And the citizens that came out when we were going around with Public Works and helping, offering thank yous, water, you name it, was just refreshing. The water as well was very refreshing. So get that. With that, I'm going to then now ask for executive session, that the council will go into executive session for a motion to enter an executive session under 5 ILCS 120 section 2C1 for personnel matters, the performance of specific employees. And I'd like for a motion and ask for a second to that motion. So moved by Member Kearns and seconded by Member Ward. And if we could take the roll, please.
Councilmember Kearns?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosley?
Yes.
Councilmember Motney?
Yes.
Councilmember Dannenberger?
Yes.
Councilmember Strazza?
Yes.
Councilmember Ward?
Aye.
Councilmember Lee?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, thank break and then come right back. I'm sorry.
I think we
Sure.
Said-
Go ahead.
litigation, so.
Also pending litigation to add to the motion. Okay. Thank you. We'll correct it when we come back. We got everybody? All right, the council is entering into executive session under 5 ILCS 120, section 2C1, personnel, the performance of specific employees, and section 2C11, pending litigation. We ask that all members of the public media and non-essential staff leave the meeting room, and no recording devices shall be left in the room. Council will resume the open session meeting following the executive session. However, no additional action will be taken except to adjourn the regular session, and the live stream will end. With that, we will now go into executive session.